Boncharge is a holistic wellness brand with a huge range of evidence-based products to optimize your life in every way. Founded on science and inspired by nature, all Boncharge products adopt ancestral ways of living in our modern-day world. Their extensive range of premium wellness products help you sleep better, perform better, have more energy, recover faster, reduce inflammation. The list is endless. Our favorite product from Boncharge is their infrared sauna blanket. If you're looking to ease stress and unwind, the sauna blanket can do just that. The infrared heat and your elevated heart rate, all while relaxing, releases endorphins, which can leave you feeling euphoric after your session. It takes less than a minute to set up, heats up quickly, and you'll feel revitalized and less stress after sessions. And they offer free shipping on every sauna blanket, no hidden costs. Go to boncharge.com and use coupon code SALLY to save 15%. That's boncharge.com and use coupon code SALLY to save 15%.
All summer, I've been living in the AFO Middle Short Ultra from Janji. They're super comfortable and amazing shorts for running and for everyday wear too. They're lightweight with 6 pockets, a ton of room for gels in your phone, and they have a moisture-wicking brief liner and reflective detailing around hand pockets, and reflective logos in the front and the back keep you seen and safe. Janji makes running apparel for everyday exploration with designs, materials, and features meant to help runners go farther and is made with durability in mind. And also, it's backed by a 5-year guarantee. Head over to janji.com to check out some designs for yourself and use code CHOOSESTRONG for 10% off your order. That's janji.com and use code CHOOSESTRONG.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Choose Strong podcast. Very excited and grateful that you decided to join us today, that you decided to bring us along for whatever it is that you are doing. If you are watching us on YouTube or Spotify video, I'm waving at you, especially to our youth listeners. Hello. Grateful for you. Eddie and I are always cheering for you. We, of course, always want to remind you that you are so strong. Keep setting those goals high for yourself, and just kind of echoing what I said a lot in my last couple of weeks while on tour, where I got to meet a lot of kids. Just to remind them to not be afraid of failure. Do not be afraid of missing the mark or not making the team or not achieving what you want to achieve the first time. Failing just means that you're trying, and some people will never try. So be proud of yourself for trying. Spend your whole life trying. Youth, you are the future. And we are cheering for you. We love you. So thank you for being here, even if it is just for a little minute, a few minutes. I also brought my dog for everyone to see. This is Bear. And actually, Eddie, we're going to flash a picture of what he looked like just like 10 minutes ago. Bear's so little. He's like 8-9 pounds. So I can bathe him in our sink. He doesn't like to be bathed, but he is a wild one and loves to play outside. So he comes in with all of these burrs on his fur and knots, and he gets pretty dirty. And so I gave him a little bath this morning. We're having some cuddle time, but I have a feeling he's just going to go run away and go run outside right now. But yeah, this is Bear. Sometimes he pops in and out of the podcast. Remember last week when we had Andy on, and Bear's usually like afraid of new people.
Yeah.
And he loved Andy.
He warmed up to him, yeah.
And ended up like sleeping right next to him.
Yeah.
It was the cutest thing. I was like, that's a good sign. Andy Glaze is a good man. So,
Yep.
you know, if Bear automatically warms up to anyone, we're like, oh, okay. He's got
He's
good
passed the
intuition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie, how are you doing? It's another week. It's Monday. This is the last week, the last couple days of September.
Yeah. Happy fall. Happy fall.
Happy fall, y'all.
I knew it was fall because there's a couple pumpkins now on the doorstep, and that always signifies fall is upon us. And another thing that lets me know that fall is here is that I start rubbing my eyes as soon as I wake up. But it might not be because of fall. It might be because of all the cinnamon candles that you light, and it just wrecks me.
It takes me back to our honeymoon.
Yes.
When
yeah.
I learned that my now new husband was allergic to cinnamon.
I almost died.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Whenever I travel places, sometimes I'll bring like a little like votive candle. You never know where you're going to be staying and if there's going to be fun
A
smells
stench.
there.
Yeah.
And we were staying in like this little condo. It was in Maui.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I brought like a little tiny candle for like the kitchen or whatever. And wow, by day 2, your eyes were pretty much
swollen
shut.
Yeah.
We had no idea. And then it dawned on me. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the candle. So I've done a good job ever since for pretty much our whole marriage of keeping cinnamon aroma, fragrance out of the house, even though that's like one of my favorite smells. I don't feel like in baking it affects you.
No.
If I make something with baking, but if it's in like, a lotion or a candle, you do react to that. But I've always made sure that I look at what the candle is, but I think this one little cinnamon got snuck in.
It doesn't say cinnamon on the actual candle itself.
It's like
but
some fall
there's
name.
Definitely something in there that's
like
triggering it.
I don't know what it's called. It's like pumpkin floral fall foliage fun.
Cinnamon. Yeah, there's
cinnamon wasn't in there.
I've been popping some Allegra every day just to keep my eyes open. But
you're the one that lit it this morning, so
I didn't. No, I didn't.
You didn't light that candle?
No.
Oh, who did?
I didn't.
Maybe I did. I just don't remember because I've been up for like 12 hours already and it's 12 p.m. right now.
I didn't light it.
Who knows?
Yes.
Got my LaCroix here. Got my Choose Strong hat.
Dude,
Eddie's got the black Choose Strong hat.
I do, yeah.
And shirt.
Nice
I mean,
shirt
you
too.
are decked out in black and yellow right now.
Speaking of what we're drinking, I'm going to give a little shout out to our friends Robert and Julianne for sending us down some fresh roasted beans from their homemade roaster.
One of my favorite things to get.
Called Cornerstone Roaster.
Amazing. So, Anna Gibson, who I was able to give the Future Award to this year at TrailCon, she sent me 2 bags of coffee beans with this really lovely card. And I was like, she's my people. People sending us coffee beans.
Yeah, when anybody sends you coffee, that's your person.
It is.
That's your person.
I mean,
if I bring you home a coffee, I'm your person.
If
for the day.
If we're fighting, you're like, I'm going to get her a coffee, and suddenly we're not fighting anymore. Suddenly,
Americano does wonders.
Americano
does wonders.
It does do wonders, and so does anything with the mix of chocolate and peanut butter. So, or donuts. I mean, now I'm just going to list off all the things.
Yeah, double cheeseburgers. Or, well, hey, this past week actually, Trailfest. Mammoth 200.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to make an appearance, which we intended to throughout the whole year.
We got a lot of people there.
Yeah, a lot of people were there.
We got a lot of people there, and I'd say that all of my good friends were there in some capacity racing. Yeah. Big shout out to my good friend Margie Daly, who completed the Mammoth 50K, which is, all at altitude, big climbing. So very proud of you, Margie. And it was fun seeing Dave had recorded this video of Sully, her sweet little son, running up to her and saying, "Mommy, you're doing more dancing than running." And it was just my favorite thing.
Classic.
That is Marge. She loves to have so much fun and is just such a joy. So it was really fun because when I had first met Marge, she hadn't, kind of thought ultra runners were kind of crazy, everything that we had done. And she'd done a road marathon before. But, I don't blame her. I still think, we ultra runners, we are crazy. We do run these crazy distances. But, sometimes it's fun to do an ultra as like a bucket list type thing. That's kind of the way I even see like the 200s, having done so many 200s. I'm like, I think that distance is a good bucket list race. I mean, it wrecks you pretty good. The recovery is pretty long. the financial investment in those is pretty significant. But, it's fun to do something big and crazy and hard and, bring people along with you to experience it too, whether you're pacing or crewing. It's super fun. So just seeing, what a lot of people did. Thank you for everyone that reached out to us and tagged us while you were at the Mammoth Trail Fest. A big reason why we kind of had to pivot was just mainly because of this tour that kind of expanded for me. I was supposed to go to Missouri, come home, go to Mammoth Trail Fest, and then go back out to Kentucky. But we decided to connect the tour to go through Tennessee. So then I just didn't come home for 2 weeks. And if you are on LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me there. I wrote a first thoughts reflection just on that tour, what I experienced, some of the reasons why I did it, and just, some things that I'm thinking about moving forward. And so I did a post there, and we'll be launching my Substack as well as I continue to kind of write and explore and travel. But I, at one point, did a story, and I asked you, listeners and viewers, right there on Instagram, where I should tour next. And for those of you that are even curious about what it is that I'm talking about, I basically did a speaking tour, and most of all of the events that I did were also wrapped into a run. It wasn't it wasn't based on like the latest Hoka shoes or Nike shoes or Brooks or anything like that. It really was, the foundation of it was community, and I think that is something that I've just been thinking a lot about lately, not even in light of just like recent events and just a lot of the pain and heaviness that we're feeling in the world and have been for, the last, especially last 4 or 5 years. There's just been so much stuff going on nonstop that I think has caused a lot of anxiety and stress and depression and people feeling lost. And yeah, it's just been a really hard time. I think especially being parents of teens, like we feel it, we witness this, like this is what our kids are growing up in. This is how they're becoming adults. Like this is their experience. And so I wear some of these things pretty heavily, already as a mom, I'm always worrying and wondering about my kids every single day. But, there's been a lot lately that has been happening where I'm just always kind of checking in. And I just feel like what I'm seeing more and more and what I'm understanding more and more is that people are in need of real community, of gathering together. We need to see the whites of each other's eyes. We need to listen to each other's voices, make a friend, have a warm embrace, carry each other's burdens. I mean, there's so many things when we gather together as just real people. A lot of great change happens. And I'm talking more just on the very like immediate community level, not even, thinking about that on a bigger scale, but our greatest change starts in the home. It starts by how we treat our neighbor, in your local grocery store or coffee house, how we treat one another, and spreading light and love is it's something we can all choose to do. I heard someone today say something, but it was actually really profound. Like, can we, is there a world that exists where we stop putting people into immediate categories? Based on whether it's political views or religious views or what they look like. Is there a world that exists where we genuinely get to know somebody and try to understand their life and what it's like to be them and live their life, and what are their passions and desires and hopes? What's their pain and their loss? We can only really do that by spending real time with real people. And so that was a big part of this tour. It was 9 events within 12 days. And my hope was that I could just stand on a stage and encourage people, remind them of the truth of who they are. They are strong, they're resilient. There's so much in store for everyone. If we have the gift of waking up each and every day, there's a reason for that, whether we understand why or not. And whether that's to impact one person right there in our home or to impact thousands of individuals, there's purpose for all of us. And I had a lot of wonderful conversations. I was especially shocked, Eddie, I know I talked to you a few times while I was away, but like, I couldn't believe how many kids came out. I was blown away at the number of children that attended my events.
Yeah, so
and
cool.
the number of parents that continually said over and over, thank you for giving us our kids. somebody positive to look up to, someone that is going to speak truth and kindness and strength to our kids. And, I don't take those things lightly. I was really paying attention. I mean, the demographic of attendance was wild. It wasn't just a certain age group. It wasn't just ultra runners. It wasn't just women, which I really appreciate that too. I've been saying this more and more, but it's like everybody always, if we could just approach, everybody always deserves to be loved and respected and seen. We can do a lot of really good work, in there. So yeah, I guess shout out to everybody that's listening or watching right now that I was able to meet. For those of you that showed up to one of these events, I can't thank you enough for being there. It meant so much to me. I was always shocked by the amount of people that showed up. I was especially taken aback by the time spent traveling to come into one of my events. I mean, I had people travel up to 8 hours by car to my events, and this was consistent across every single event that I did. No matter how small or big it was pretty wild. People on weeknights traveling 3-4 hours across state lines to get to one of these events. And so I can't thank you enough. I still have a lot to unpack because there's definitely something there. There's definitely a need and a longing for this type of thing. I don't take my platform lightly. And the years that I've spent here trying to build something that actually lives beyond any belt buckle or medal that I've ever brought home. I mean, let's be honest, those things fade with each passing year. But, how joyful to be able to use what I've done in the sport to reach out and connect with people. And I think there's nothing unique or special about me that allows me to do that. That's something that we can all do. So yeah, I'm still recovering because as soon as I got off the plane, I had to take an Uber to Eddie's parents' 50th wedding anniversary. Like I was in sweats and I'd been traveling for like 12 hours and I just show up to this party. And that lasted until well into the night. I was supposed to go to Mammoth and commentate. I was supposed to be on the live feed for the Mammoth 200. And I was like, I will crash my car if I
I would not
drive out there right now. So it was probably good that I stayed. I was then supposed to go to Flagstaff to see Mackenzie today. And then we chatted yesterday and we decided it would be better if I went out next week. So these next couple days, I get a little bit of a reset. I'm starting a new training program. I have a 12-week training program. I'll share more about that later. I've gone back and forth with documenting it. It's kind of a hard season where I'm at right now, just physically thinking that I might have to go in for surgery again. Yeah, but I'm starting a new training program, trying to get the body a little bit stronger than where it is right now and, get a nice reset from the tour and just connect with wonderful people like you who's just plodding along. I know some of you have just you've been running now for the past 10 minutes, 18 minutes to be exact. Some of you are driving, some of you are out for your morning walk. But I really appreciate you being here, and it's good to be back on the mic with you, Ed.
Yes, yeah, it's good to have you back home, and I was pretty proud of myself for those 12 or so days that you were gone. That there was a temptation for me and Isaiah to go out to eat every single night, to have pizza and wings, but we decided to stay home and we made some good food, and so I'm pretty proud of myself. And I just didn't get him licorice and ice cream, so I actually got him some good protein. So
I did invest in a non-toxic air fryer.
Yeah, that's
a game changer. I never thought I'd be such a big fan of the air fryer, but when I leave, I'm very grateful to know that you guys can make some good food in there. But
it's great. I love that thing.
But you also love the iron skillet.
I love the skillet.
You love the skillet. So you made a lot of protein bowls.
Yep. A lot of rice and chicken bowls, meat, steaks.
It's a good go-to in our home.
Yeah.
It's what's fast and what is high protein. I think that's kind of like been at the foundation of our eating for the past year.
I'm not going to lie. We did go out and have some junk for sure. In fact, one day Isaiah spent the rest of the night throwing up. So that's probably my fault. So apologies on that.
Yeah.
And he had to stay home the next day because he still was
was struggling on the stomach, but hey, you know what? He's good now. He's a young boy, and he bounced back from the junk that he ate. So yeah, so welcome back. And any other thoughts on the Mammoth 200? I know I popped into kind of followed a little bit, and I just kept seeing these beautiful drone shots and just how amazing the coverage and the footage of just the Eastern Sierra. But I know it was a fast course, a fast 200, but I mean, moving forward, I'm sure that'll be a popular 200 because it is fast and just how beautiful it is and how I mean, the course better than anyone, but I was blown away about how pretty that place is. So
yeah, I think first and foremost, just giving a big shout out to Jimmy Wayne.
Yeah.
Who finished the course in 45 hours and 16 minutes. And not long after, first place female, Rachel Inchikin, finished in 46 hours and 50 minutes and 45 seconds. So
fast.
She was always on the heels of Jimmy. I mean, obviously, he finished almost 90 minutes before her, but it was pretty incredible to see that race between the two of them, to see I know the distance is kind of going back and forth. Some people say it's 2:11, 2:16, but regardless, to run a sub 50 hour at entirely altitude, going up to over 11,000 feet a couple times it's a multi-terrain course through and through. I mean, you're in deep sand sometimes, you're on single track, you're on roots and rocks, you're on road, you're on Jeep trail, you're on smooth single track. I mean, you're constantly having to adapt. I mean, you're also like on craters, like obsidian craters, and like it's just it is a very wild, raw, exposed course. I think it's a little over 30,000 feet of climbing. The route is just a tiny bit different from what I did.
Yeah.
But I had, when I did it was not a race. We were making a film. We really did take our time. I didn't taper for it. I had gone literally like 4 weeks straight of being out in the mountains every single day for sometimes 12 hours, sometimes 8 hours every single day. And then it was the day that we did the attempt was just no different day for me. I just woke up and I was like, well, now I'm just going to put it all together, which is why it took me 72 hours to do the route. And so knowing that I had no real training, there wasn't course markings, weren't aid stations, there wasn't a taper and a rest or a buildup. Knowing that it took me 72 hours to do that, I thought the podium finishes are going to be sub 50 and sub 60 across, both sides where, that's probably what we're going to see. So I was almost right. I think our third place female was 65 hours, which is still phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal time, very fast, but was not surprised to see the top woman and top man get in under 48 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. So, yes, the Mammoth 200, in my opinion, is the fastest of all the big 200s, like the big established ones. So, and when I say that, it's Cocodona 250 and then Destinations Trails, they're three, Tahoe, Bigfoot, and Moab.
Yeah.
So I think that Mammoth 200 is the fastest. The other thing that I really like about Mammoth is it is probably the most crew friendly. Just like Tahoe. So Tahoe and Mammoth are great experiences for crew, especially when you have people on your crew that they're not ultra runners, they're not used to being in the mountains. They might get the type of people that maybe get lost easily or don't like being out in the wilderness and far away from civilization for long periods of time, which do happen in all the other races. Tahoe and Mammoth, at any given time, you are always, anywhere from 5 minutes to maybe at most an hour away from downtown Mammoth Village, which is amazing. And there's lakes everywhere and it's beautiful. You really do feel like, sometimes you feel like you're out there, but then other times you're like, I'm really not that far out there. I'm not that far from a main road. So there is a bit of comfort, I think, that you feel. The other thing about Mammoth 200 is that almost every single mile, like a Jeep or a car can get to you.
Yeah.
So, or isn't very far from like where you are to come and get to you. So, unlike races like Bigfoot 200, where you're like, oh my gosh, I am out here, and if something happens to me, it's going to be a while before someone finds me. It's going to be a while before I can actually get to a main road. I think that Mammoth 200 will be the type of race where if that is if someone's wanting to try a 200 for the first time, that's a great one. I think the second best one for like intro is actually Cocodona 250. I know it's 250 miles, but it is one of the most well-supported, organized, as you know, organized 200s out there. And there's not a ton of moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so far out there. Like you definitely feel like it's remote, but I still feel like you feel the support pretty much the entire way. You know that you're not that far off from an aid station or crew. I mean, I couldn't believe how many volunteers are at Cocodona 250 and how often I would see people working the race just out on the trail, you know, bringing a truck out or a Jeep out, and you're like, oh, I thought I was in the middle of nowhere, but like, there you are. So yeah, and I think that's really important to speak to because the interest in the distance is growing. But having been able to do so many of them in a short amount of time, I feel like I can speak very candidly about them. And I love to offer, you know, advice and insight as much as I can. I know it's a unique distance. Like I said, it's a massive investment.
Yeah.
It's a huge investment. You got to invest a minimum of a week of your life just for the race alone. And then the budget that you're putting into that, you know, at the bare minimum, these races cost anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000 just for the registration. That doesn't count the gear, travel, lodging, you know, food, what you're investing in training. If you're bringing out multiple people to support you, many times that does require that you flip the bill to a certain degree. So I think of it as more of like an adventure vacation, you know, the same way people would invest in maybe like going on a safari. Or doing like a really cool trek through like the Patagonia mountains. Like you invest in that. And so this is something that that's kind of the way that I look at it. And I had talked to Jamil about this when I did it in 2023, the Cocodona, and I was like, I don't know if 200s should be categorized as ultras. I think they're epics. It's an epic multi-day adventure that just sets itself apart. It's not doing two 100s back to back. It just isn't. It can't be run that way, and it's hard to look at it that way. You know, even looking at Jimmy and Rachel, I mean, you split their time in half. That's still like a really stout, that's a wonderful 100-mile time. You know, a sub 30 hours in 100 miles is fantastic. And they did that twice through. So I think Jimmy had gotten through the first 100 miles of the Mammoth in like 18 and a half hours. And I think Rachel was like right there at 20 hours maybe. It was... Gosh, just so incredible to witness that.
Yeah.
So I'm sad that I wasn't able to be there up front, but it is really fun to see, you know, how it's all played out.
Yeah. I gave some advice too this week on the Mammoth 200.
Oh, no, I bet you can with crewing and everything.
A lady reached out. She was racing the Mammoth 200 and asked, hey, in that movie, The Mammoth that Sally did, where did you get those burritos?
Dude, yes. Were you able to tell her?
Oh, yeah. I told her the Whoa and Nelly Deli.
Whoa, Nelly Deli.
Lee Vining.
Lee Vining. It is a must stop.
I gave her the... I gave her that. And then I said, also
there's actually
in the village...
aid station. They put an aid station there.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I said also in the village, there's that Nick's Bakery and Deli has the Mammoth burrito, which was great. But yeah, on the course, I told her to hit that. And then I actually was lurking a little bit in the chat room on one of the days, and they were saying how it's not Lee Vining, it's like Levining. Is that right?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's what someone said. So
yeah, that's interesting because I don't think that's how Tim.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So yeah, I mean, it was a debate. It was a debate in the chat, and
well, also
whatever it was.
like I remember Tim correcting me and very adamant about it, but just like it's not Mono Lake, it's Mono Lake. Like the whole like mono, the way it's pronounced is
and
like,
it's not Eastern Sierras.
No, you don't plural.
It's Eastern
just
Sierra.
Eastern Sierra.
Yeah. There's like you gotta learn all these things when you're out there. But it was like I said, the drone footage and those times, and I think it's gonna make for a great 200-mile race moving forward. So
yeah.
Are you an athlete looking to dial in your nutrition? Or are you a parent who loves cooking healthy meals for your family? Well, you need to check out Plan to Eat. Plan to Eat is a meal planning app that can save you time and money, an app that simplifies the meal planning process. Our family knows how important it is to meal plan in order to eat healthy, as I'm sure that you do too. Plan to Eat is great because when you find a healthy recipe online or from one of your favorite social media apps like Instagram or Pinterest, you can upload those recipes directly to the app and plan out your weekly meals or your entire month. One of the things that I like the most is that the shopping list is automatically generated from your planned recipes and makes grocery shopping more efficient. So I can go to the store knowing our list has exactly what we need. No more texting or calling Sally from the store to make sure I didn't forget anything. Plan to Eat offers a free, fully functional 14-day trial, no payment info required, so that you can easily see if it's right for you before you pay. And Choose Strong listeners, you can save 25% on an annual subscription to Plan to Eat. Sign up for your free trial at plantoeat.com/Sally. The coupon will be automatically applied to your account and can be used when you are ready to subscribe. Valid for new customers only when paying through the website. That's plantoeat.com/Sally to sign up for your free trial. All right. Well, speaking of burritos and food on a course, I have a great little article that I saw here, Sal, I thought you would enjoy. The title of this article is Legend Dairy Man Carries Ice Cream and Dry Ice Up Colorado Peak as a Treat for Other Hikers. All right, so listen to this. This is great. Hikers who climbed a Colorado mountain got more than just a sweeping view at the top. A man in an ice cream costume unexpectedly was handing out frozen treats. He also had a nice mustache going. No one seemed to know the man who carried the ice cream sandwiches, bars, and a dry ice in a 60-pound pack up here in Peak. But word of him spread quickly to hikers still making their way up the more than 14,000-foot mountain, one of Colorado's tallest. I love this. Blaine and Katie were about 3/4 of the way up the peak. When other hikers told them about the man, they worried that he would run out of ice cream by the time they got there. But eventually we got up to the top of the mountain and we tried. We were tired, hot, thirsty, and we didn't know, but ice cream was just kind of what we wanted, Blaine said. He and his wife enjoyed the ice cream sandwiches, which were still surprisingly very cold, with some leftover pizza they carried with them. Now, this one I love. Christopher said his two children, Olivia, 11, and Owen, who's 8, they went straight to the ice cream man as soon as they reached the top of the mountain, considered a relatively moderate climb among Colorado's more than 50 peaks. It definitely leaves a lasting impression for my kids as a very positive experience, but he warned them not to expect that every time that they climb up a mountain. I thought that was pretty funny to have those kids climb up this 14,000-foot mountain and then a guy's passing out ice cream. I think I could maybe do that climb if I knew that ice cream was at the top. I think that would get me up there.
Yeah, I think I could too, but then also I've done that so often without ice cream that would just.
But I think that would give the everyday kind of folk that doesn't do those kind of hikes. That'd be my why. Like, hey, why did you do that? That's my why. Ice cream sandwiches. The guy's up there giving out ice cream sandwiches. Come on now. Anyways, I thought that was a very very cool little article I wanted to share. All right, moving on, Sal. I'm going to share a little review. This review is from Beastarino. First of all, love the name, Beastarino. He says, what a podcast. From the professional running insight to training motivation, from talks of spirituality and bettering yourself as a person, the Choose Strong podcast will only impact you positively. Hop on the train and get to listening. Beastarino, we appreciate that. Nice review on Apple. And he just said, hop on that train, get on listening. All right. And I got a highlight, Sal, from Zachary in the Choose Strong Strava group. Now, this speaks to your point that you were making about 10 minutes ago about community. People are longing for it, wanting it. And Zach says in his post, he's got a cool picture, by the way, of his, I think it's his dog and this other girl, trail run with a mate. So great to finally run with another person. I've been running on the treadmill and alone for weeks, which has made training so boring, but very effective. The barista at the cafe afterwards was also a trail runner. So the three of us got to chat for ages about the trail races that he used to do back in India. And then he said that we should listen to this podcast. And then I also gave him one up and I told him to hop in the Strava group. So much strong love in the trail community. So I wanted to point this out because Zachary jumped in with this run with this girl, Nicole, and then he finally got to run with her, finally got to run with someone, and then they get to coffee afterwards, and the barista's a trail runner, ultra runner, and they got to chat. And they just got a little community, and he was stoked, and he wanted to share that. So pretty cool, and I think, again, like I said, it speaks to your point about, the ultra community and how friendly they are, but also how we want to develop these friendships and in person and create these friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if you guys want to check that out, it's in the Strava group. Zachary, well done. Thank you for sharing that with us, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's always been known that the endurance community is friendly, it's welcoming, you can find good friends, find good relationships there.
Yep.
And I think we just need to highlight that more.
Yeah.
It's really easy to create a mindset based entirely on what we choose to focus on.
Yeah.
And so we can spend our whole lives focusing on what's wrong.
Yep.
And that's a hard life to live, because at the end of the day, when we live in an imperfect world surrounded by imperfect people, there's always going to be something wrong.
Yeah.
And it takes bravery, it takes courage and dedication to choose to focus on the blessings, on gratitude, on what's going well, looking for the good in people and what's around us, looking and celebrating even the smallest of milestones of growth. And as I said earlier, when we gather in real life with people, we take time off of our phones. I mean, it was eye-opening to me. Like sometimes this is just something I practice in my personal life, but I will sometimes go to public places and I keep my phone in my bag and I just watch people. And I'm very purposeful about it, but I'll just say, okay, I'm just going to sit here and just sip my coffee, and I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm not going to scroll. I'm just going to watch people. And I did that a few times in the airport. I did it at a coffee house when I was traveling, and man, my heart was heavy just knowing, I'm not above this, but it's most people are sitting on their phones everywhere I went, of all ages, and missing out on what's going on around them. I remember I started traveling when I think the first time out of the country, I was 17. It was actually 6 weeks after my mom died. I went to Hungary, the country of Hungary. And, when I went to the airport back then, we didn't have cell phones. And even security was very different. Airports, people could walk in all the way to the gate with you and say goodbye to you at the gate. It was incredible. Yeah. I remember you doing that to me when we were in college, and I left for South Africa for a few months.
I was saying, are you sure you want to go?
I do remember that because I remember crying as I walked onto the plane. But what happens when we take a phone away? I mean, essentially, there's a lot of positive things about social media, networking, catching up with people, a friend or family member that you really miss that now has moved away, lives on the other side of the country or the world. There's a lot of really good, positive things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's nothing greater than living life in real time with real people right next to us. And where we are is where we're meant to be.
Yeah.
Whether we're in your workplace or in your family or the city that you live in right now, it's you're supposed to be there. for such a time as this. And, that's coming from someone I've lived all over the place, traveled all over the world. And sometimes I've felt like I'm not supposed to be living here. I'm not supposed to be doing this. But until that change eventually happens, or that opportunity happens where you can make a change, what would happen if we just embraced where we were? And the element of distraction is one of the greatest destroyers of dreams, because it takes away our ability to focus. It takes away the planning that must take place to plan out steps and how we are going to take action on things that really matter to us. So whether that's working toward a goal, a training plan, something in school or in a relationship, that requires us to sit with ourselves. It requires us to have a thought process. And many times when we are making plans or we're dreaming up a dream, we're also looking for mentorship. We're looking for guidance. We want to connect and learn from the people around us. And somehow we've gotten stuck with just any down moment. Anytime we sit down, it's spent just scrolling.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't me picking on something, or like I'm not above any of this. Like I do all this. I think about like my morning walk this morning. I clicked into my AirPods and turned a podcast on.
Yeah.
And that was my walk this morning. I listened to a podcast and got my sunshine time in, and it was a good way to start the day. But there was a big part of my life I can still remember, because we've lived through the progressive media age, where I didn't have any of that. And so, and like for our kids, they've never known that.
Yeah.
They've grown up with screens, and screens were put into their schools, and it's how they communicate with their friends. So this isn't necessarily something we're going to shove back into a bottle, but is there a day where we are going to come and realize that we get to be the boss of how we interact with the screens? I don't know if everyone feels that way. I think there's, stuff I'm still thinking about, but I think there's a lot of people that feel controlled by their screens. Like I have to be on my screens.
Yeah.
I have to be responding to texts, the phone calls, the emails, the FaceTimes. We're doing Zooms on our phones, but for a lot of people that work in social media marketing, advertising, like it's all social media, and it's everything is consumed there. But is there a day that exists in the future where it will then become commonplace again, where it's like, oh no, like nobody spends that much time on their phone anymore. It's, we get on it for a couple hours a day. That's it.
Yeah.
But everything else, like the value of human connection and gathering and working alongside each other and creating things authentically and having real discovery type conversations as a way to build real relationships, is that going to be at the forefront at some point in the future? Are kids going to say, hey, I want a flip phone, don't give me a smartphone? Is the mass of social media content, is there going to come a day where we just finally are like, I can be on it for an hour, but anything beyond that each day just destroys me? I don't think even, like, I think of youth, their frontal cortex, their brain isn't even fully developed. And it's like, was anyone, whether fully developed brain or not, was anyone supposed to ever take in this much information at this rate?
Yeah.
And especially to be in full knowledge of just the consistent, constant devastation of going on in the world, whether through war and crime and everything, just constantly. You're constantly getting that. Yeah, those are like some real things that I think about. And I know that a lot of it stems from just spending really good time with people in my travels all over the world. I haven't just stayed in this like little bubble. I'm not jaded to the ways of the world at all.
Right.
I grew up really young. I started traveling at 17, and I've never stopped. And I've gone to some really hard, devastating, hopeless places. And I've gone to some really beautiful, wonderful places. And, it rings true that no matter where you are, no matter what your background is or what country you live in, what language you speak or what you look like, people want to know that their life has purpose, that they're loved, that they're seen. And that will never change. But I'll tell you what, we're not going to find that in a phone. We're not going to find that behind screens. We're going to find that when we come together and we connect in love, and we connect in serving one another.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, and that's cool that you got to experience a lot of that face-to-face time this past week and seeing people come to a conference, driving hours to like a run club to come, connect with other people, to hear from you, to people that came to Kentucky that weren't even racing, that came just to hear you, give a little talk and share some wisdom and just to connect, right? Like that's so that's cool that you got to experience that firsthand this past week. But yeah, it's definitely it's sad, but it's definitely something alarming too, where all those points that you just made, it's sad. All right, so let's I have a Sally Says here.
Okay.
I have I think it'd be a quick one for you. I don't think it's very detailed, but it is a question where people have packs where they're training or in races, and I've seen in many races where late in the race they'll take their pack off and they'll throw a whole bunch of Coke in their pack, right? Like
ginger ale.
Yeah, they'll just
does wonders.
It was water, but now it's like the whole bladder.
That's Coke. Like the last 20% of a race. Like, give me anything that's going to get me to the finish line. Like, we're done with water. We're drinking ginger ale for the rest of the time.
But and then after the race, many times I'm not saying you've done this, but you have. We come home, you're exhausted, you're sleeping, and just all the stuff is just kind of in the garage for maybe a little bit longer than a week or two. And we finally go in there and we go, what does that smell? And it's all of the stuff that we had going on in that 200-mile race. But then we find your pack and we're like, oh, wow, your bladder in this
moldy.
Pack is really disgusting. So the question is, what's the best way that you found to clean the water bladder and the tube in the hydration pack after it's been nasty?
I mean, my most straightforward answer is go on YouTube and look at, like, literally type that in, because the companies that make those bladders, like, they show you.
Yeah.
And, if you're one that likes to shop at REI or any outdoor store, or if you like Amazon, there's cleaning tablets that
you drop it in.
Yeah. It's almost like a seltzer. It looks like the same stuff that probably cleans dentures. That kind of idea. The tubes now, a lot of times the tubes come with cleaning kits that have these brushes that fit inside your straw, your drinking straw that connects to your bladder, that you can scrub in there. The good old classic, soaking it in hot soapy water and then, giving it a good scrub. And I'm a big fan of baking soda. It's crazy how well that stuff can clean things.
Solves a lot of problems.
Or baking powder. The baking powder or baking soda?
I think baking soda.
I think baking powder.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll Google it while you talk.
Yeah. I mean, I know you use both when you cook, but like Arm & Hammer.
There we go.
The Arm & Hammer baking powder. But like, I think, maybe it is soda.
I think it's baking soda, but whatever. We'll move on.
That cleans everything. I mean, I use that all the time for everything. I always have a big bag of it, whether it's to clean upholstery, a stain off clothes.
Yep.
And just really a hard stuff, like weird stains if they have a weird stain on a countertop, like I love that stuff. So yeah, it is worth the time and effort. I think that cleaning a bladder in the straw is so laborious. It's the last thing you want to do after a long run, after a race. And those things are expensive.
Yeah.
Like, bladders are not cheap.
Yeah. But
it is important that you keep them clean, because when you are in a long run and you're drinking from that for 3-4 hours for a long run, for ultra marathoners particularly, or you're in a race, let's say you're doing like 100K, and it's like, dude, you're using that for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours. It's like, that's a long time to be drinking from something.
Yeah, that is.
that might have some buildup, some bacteria buildup or even little bits of mold in there. And we can kind of forget that. So whether it's a bladder or the drinking caps of your flasks, your classable flasks, all that stuff should be cleaned. When I'm in a bind, sometimes I throw that stuff in the top rack of the dishwasher if it can be opened and taken apart as much as possible. A lot of times, like, it's crazy. You'll clean the cap or the nozzle of like a drinking bottle or like a collapsible flask, and then there's the maybe you'll wash it in the dishwasher. But it's crazy if you don't take the second step and actually take that apart. That's where it's like gross.
Yeah.
Is when you take everything apart and you get into like the crevices and what's underneath like the actual like mouthpiece. That's where you see like some gross bacteria and black stuff in there that you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't be drinking that.
Yeah.
So, take your time. This might be a reminder for those of you that are on a long run right now. There might be people in the middle of a race that are like totally grossed out and like gagging because they're like, I haven't washed mine in like 6 months.
I'm not drinking for the rest of the race.
I've also known some people that like they just don't care.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever. I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess we're all consuming stuff that we don't know about on a daily basis that's making us sick. But that's my best advice. Look on YouTube. They'll give you like the exact way that you should wash these things. You can find the cleaning tablets on Amazon or any outdoor store. So, try to do that every now and then. Just give it a good, nice scrub. All us fellas get some of that baking powder, baking soda, and, give it a good scrub yourself. It'll be worth it. Your stuff will probably taste better too.
Yeah, true. All right. Well, great answer. And do you have anything else you want to add, Sal, to this wonderful conversation that we just had?
Yeah, I wanted to just follow up on, things that you've been working toward. I met a lot of people when I was out on tour who just love you and say how much they appreciate the podcast. Yeah. Quite a few people from Missouri that wanted to make sure that you knew that we do not pronounce it Missouri.
I was actually going to ask you that.
Missouri.
Did you get the clarification on how to say
Missouri.
it? Okay, well,
like everyone pronounces it that way.
I definitely...
And I remember you even saying, like, you're like, there's this guy, like, he's been there for 30 years, and he told me it was pronounced Missouri, but I don't think he knows. And I'm like, that's funny that you think, a Californian, that a guy who's lived in Missouri for 30 years still doesn't know how to pronounce it.
I just think Missouri sounds like cooler.
That's just weird. That's not cool. It's not cool. No, but there was a lot of laughing and bantering that came from that. And I know when I was away, you said that you were getting up in the morning.
Yeah, I got up every morning, actually.
You got up every morning and you went to the gym.
Oh, yeah, I did that
and you were doing our little psychology trick.
Yeah, your trick,
so
Sally,
enjoyable.
is...
So I want you to talk about that.
It's really been amazing. I'm not going to lie. Every morning when you were gone, I got up, did the coffee thing to wake me up, and
some people don't know what it is, so...
Oh, okay. Well, what I would do is Sally said that if you are tired and you don't want to go to the gym, that you trick your mind and say, hey, we're just going to get a coffee and we're going to go spin the legs on the bike for 10 minutes or
go for a
walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes. And then while you're doing that, all of a sudden you're like, all right, I got coffee. I got the heart rate up a tiny bit. I'm already at the gym along with a bunch of other people. Like I can work out. So that's what I did last week, and I love it. I've actually been able to get up every morning. Still working on getting up as early as possible, but I've been getting up and doing that the first thing when I wake up. So getting coffee, and then I'd go, walk on the treadmill for 10 to 20 minutes, and then
enjoy your coffee.
Yeah, enjoy my coffee, and
checking on some sports news.
Yeah, doing that, checking email, whatever, right? And then by the time that coffee's done and 20 minutes is up on the treadmill, I'm lifting weights.
Yeah.
So it's been good. It's been really good.
It says starting your day in like a peaceful, gracious way. I think sometimes it isn't so much that people don't want to get out of bed. It's just knowing how stressful the day is ahead for them.
Yeah.
And in a subconscious way, it's our way of saying like, oh, I need this extra 30 minutes of sleep, or I need the extra 45 minutes. It's when we think of exercise is sometimes stressful. We don't want to sweat and feel uncomfortable. We don't
Yep.
running is hard. And so it's a lot easier just to say, oh, I'll do it later,
Yeah.
and then later it comes and goes. And then we beat ourselves up so that we just get into this cycle that's so negative where
Yeah.
we're constantly beating ourselves up. We're saying that we're not strong enough, that we're not disciplined. Like we can be really mean to ourselves when really we need to invite ourselves into the day with gratitude. And sometimes that is like you go and make a cup of coffee for yourself and just go walk outside.
Yep.
Like that shouldn't be stressful. Be grateful for the day that you are given. We're not guaranteed any day.
Yep.
The
You're
day you
right.
have is all you have. And so, when you get that chance to open up your eyes, the day holds so much that you don't know about. And so why not allow yourself to begin the day peacefully? This is why I'm a really big fan of the earlier you can get up, the better. I
Yep.
know not all of us are morning people. And especially to my creative mind type listeners, I know a lot of you do your best work late at night. I understand this. And so getting up early in the morning is difficult. And, even the transition, if you are really wanting to get up at, 4:30, 5 a.m., allow yourself a transition period in which you do that, where every week you're just getting up 15 minutes early. It's not like you normally get up at 8 and then suddenly you're, 3 hours earlier. I mean, that's a hard transition. But what are ways that you can invite yourself into a day that's full of possibilities and hope and gratitude where you're just genuinely looking forward to the day? And so that's where the coffee and walk came from.
Yeah.
It was, what are things that especially here in North America, we love, a lot of us love the idea of getting a coffee or a tea with somebody in the morning and going for a walk. That's just we connect with people that way. We have conversations that way. It sounds relaxing and inviting.
Yeah.
So what would happen if we just kind of did that to start the day? And that's regardless if you're training for a race, regardless of your fitness goals. If you're looking to lose weight, get stronger, get back to, how you were feeling before, you had your baby, regardless of what those goals are, that's not what this is about. This is starting your day and feeling okay, I have purpose today and I'm excited about today and what's going to come with it. Now, the psychology trick, the coaching trick and all of this is specifically being at the gym. So that was the one thing that I was well, if your goal is actually a race and all of that, and you're having a hard time getting the training in, there's something about when you are surrounded by people doing the thing that you actually really want to do, something kind of kicks in. It's the group idea, the team idea. It's the mass idea that when you're surrounded by people all doing something, you start to kind of lean into that.
Yeah.
And so you're still getting your coffee, you walk into the gym, you sit on a bike or you go on a treadmill, you pedal as slowly, walk as slowly as you need to. You enjoy that cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you like to check the news in the morning or, send an email to someone on the East Coast, so check in with a friend. You want to see what the scores were from the game last night. Do that. Take 10, 15, 20 minutes. Do that. Enjoy that hot cup of coffee. When you're done, it just makes sense that, hey, let's go lift a weight, or maybe I'll get on the stair mill, or maybe I'll throw my cup of coffee away, or if it's a reusable cup, you're just going to pack it in your bag and you're going to put a little training in.
Yeah.
So you're already set up for success when you walk into that gym.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's been awesome. I always I look forward to it each morning now, and I love that it's I think I said this earlier, but it's done. You've done a hard thing before 9 a.m. And got that out of the way. So I still haven't been able to run in the morning because that's very hard for me. But I mean, I'm baby steps. I got to the gym. I've been lifting weights, so that's been
it's
good.
a great way to start the day.
Yeah.
Lifting weights is fantastic. Yeah.
Yep. So.
Well, I'm really proud of you.
Well, thanks, Al.
You're well on your way, Ed.
I am.
And you're going to start 2026 pretty strong and
That's the goal.
fit.
That's the goal.
And ready for whatever
Whatever's ahead.
goal you have. Yeah.
That's it.
And to our listeners, if you are working toward a goal and you are overwhelmed by family, raising kids, you have bills to pay, you got stress at work, maybe you've just lost your job or relationship isn't going great. I mean, it's really easy for fitness, training, getting out for exercise. It's really easy to put that on the back burner. It's even easy that suddenly those things feel hard. And so I just want to encourage you and remind you that you have a physical body for a reason, and it's yours and yours alone, and you only get one. And it is meant to be taken care of. It is meant to be strengthened. There's a reason, I've said this many times, why your human physical body has the ability to build muscle all the days of your life. You're supposed to do that. Life is hard, and you want to have a strong foundation in which to stand on in order to get through it. And if you are a parent, what joy, what a great responsibility you have to show your kids how that's done. So invite them to train with you in the garage. Invite them to join you for 1 mile of your run. Invite them to sign up for their own sport or their own activity and encourage them in that. When we move our bodies, we become a stronger version of ourselves. We also start to understand that we get a good mental release in that. We get some confidence boosting that comes with that. And especially for those mamas out there who so often experience mom guilt and shame for training, there is no shame in that. There's no shame in strengthening your body, both in physically and mentally. This happens when we go out for that run or that ride, or we join a friend for an Orange Theory class. We just feel better when we come home. You become a better parent. You become more enduring. You're more resilient in all the ways. When you take that time to build yourself up, you're also sending a very clear message to your kids of the importance of taking care of your body. So I'm sorry if anyone has shamed you in wanting to get back in shape or to strengthen your body or to sign up for a race. I'm rooting for you always, and I applaud your desire to live the strongest life that you possibly can. We must remember that, training and fitness doesn't need to rule our life. It doesn't need to be the signature of who we are, but it can play a tremendous role in strengthening us and helping us to stand confidently wherever we go and in all that we do. So those are the good words that I want to leave you with today. If you are still running along, well, Deb, for showing up for yourself today. If you are watching, whether on the bike or the treadmill or just hanging out on your couch, I just want you to know that I'm always so grateful that you have joined us. And I really do look forward to meeting more of you. I think I had alluded to this earlier, but I had asked people, where would you like to see me travel to next as we look at doing more shows and events in the coming months, and especially in 2026. I got hundreds of responses just in the first few hours. So if you want to put a comment in the show notes today, whether on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, if you would like me to come to your city, it'll be a multi-layered event. Let me know where I should go. There's definitely some cities that are speaking a little bit louder than others.
I was gonna say, if any of you are from Hawaii or Japan, feel free to let her know.
And it is international too, so I am paying attention. We've gotten a lot of votes from Australia, New Zealand, a lot of votes from London.
Cool.
Really interesting to see those kind of pop up, but. As far as the 50 states, it's all over the place. North, south, east, west. There's a lot of votes, and I'm really excited to craft a route where I can hit as many of these locations as possible. But all that to say, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And as always, I would just want to encourage you to keep choosing strong in all you do.